Chen felt it first. Not an alarm, but a subtle wrongness in the machine's response. The hydraulic arm seized, 4,000 meters down. A biological coating had fused the joints.
Beyond the floods, a nothingness pressed in. A fragile bubble of rationality in a hostile realm.
Beside him, Okafor compensated without a word. Celebration was merely the absence of failure here.
Flakes of something ancient, coral or bacterial colonies, drifted away into the eternal dark.
The hydraulics whined, a sound that traveled through titanium and into his own bones. The sonar painted a geometric impossibility on their screens, too regular to be natural wreckage. 4,150 meters. The pressure outside could crush flesh into paste.
He avoided eye contact with the viewport, as if the water itself might be invited inside.
At 4,300 meters, the sleeping giant entered the light.
It was not a ship. It occupied a space between machine and autonomous entity.
Titanium alloy, precision engineering, anti-growth coatings that still functioned after decades.
They matched the salvage diagrams precisely. The target weighed between 40 and 60 tons. His job was retrieval, not analysis. The ocean kept secrets well enough on its own.
The first attachment took 40 minutes. A single mistake could snap the cable or doom the recovery.
He had found his rhythm, his commands syncing with the machine's sluggish, deep-sea responses. 4 cables distributing the enormous load. At this depth, paranoia was simply professionalism.
Finally, the signal was sent. The winches far above on the surface vessel began to turn. The target resisted. It had become part of the seafloor, welded by time and biology.
Tension approached safety limits. The decision came from the surface. Increase pull by 5%.
Something gave way. Not the cables, but the ocean's grip. The target lurched free of its grave.
They rose at 15 meters per minute. Too fast, the cables would snap. Too slow, and crews above would falter. The ascent was agonizingly slow until the final rush. 34 days at 3,000 meters, and the prize was finally secured.
At 3,000 meters, the first piece broke free. A panel carrying unknown secrets spiraled into darkness.
He logged the loss without emotion. The ocean was claiming its price for the retrieval, piece by piece.
Life returned as they climbed. Bioluminescent protests flashed and faded in their turbulent passage. Fish shaped by mythology scattered below, disturbed by this reversal, where something rose instead of fell. 2,000 meters. The submarine's controls felt lighter, the water itself less eager to crush them.
More of the ocean's shroud fell away. The target shed its history, revealing the machine it once was. Manufacturing joins spoke of enormous expense. This was built in sections, a puzzle assembled for a purpose. 1,000 meters. Sunlight became a concept again, a direction where darkness finally yielded.
The target turned in a slow, grim waltz. The cables twisted, a problem for the world above.
500 meters. True light, filtered and refracted, began to paint the water for the first time.
200 meters. The ocean's surface mood intervened. Swells and currents pulled at their prize.
The hull of the Iron Providence loomed above, a monolith of the human world, waiting to receive them.
The final 100 meters took the longest.
This was where fatigue met anticipation, where accidents happened.
It breached the surface, an alien thing reborn into the air, streaming with the water of its long tomb.
In the sunlight, it seemed both magnificent and pathetic. The deep-sea growth now looked like a disease.
The crane swung its burden home. Deck crew moved with the efficiency of a well-rehearsed ritual.
It settled onto the cradle. The journey of 4,000 meters ended with the clang of metal on metal. Securing began. The umbilical cables were cut, the connection to the abyss formally severed. Chen brought the DSV up. The submarine rocked gently, a weight lifted, its purpose fulfilled.
Okafor shut down systems in sequence. The familiar checklist, a prayer of closure after every dive.
The hatch opened. Air, real, unbreathed, unscented with machine oil, washed over them. His legs betrayed him, unsteady after hours confined. The solid deck felt like a rolling dream.
This was not about value. It was about the act of retrieval, a reversal of the ocean's eternal order.
The revelation would begin now. Under jets of water, the ocean's long possession would be scrubbed away. The first blast struck. A layer of history dissolved into slurry, washing across the steel deck. Behind him, the work continued. The process of translation, from sea monster to manufactured asset.
Somewhere below, the seafloor was healing, filling the scar they had made, patient for the next offering. The ship turned for home. Their small victory was secured, dripping on the deck, awaiting judgment. Whether it was a victory depended on the secret still locked inside, beneath the corrosion and time.
Layer by layer, the abyss was scrubbed away. The object emerged, ghostly and strange, under artificial suns.
Every detail was cataloged. Each scrape, each marking, a piece of the puzzle worth millions.
His part was over. Now it belonged to the engineers, the executives, the lawyers, the surface world.
The ship cut through the night sea, a speck of light and noise carrying a secret from the silent world below.
By dawn, it was transformed. No longer a sea creature, but a derelict machine. A patient on the table. The assessment began. Was the hull sound? Were the promises of the sonar model and briefing materials true?
The interior was a tomb of technology. Pressure had been an impartial, devastating archaeologist.
There, the core housing looks intact.
But there, amidst the ruin, was the prize.
A spark ignited in Chen. Not for the money, but for the knowledge. What had this thing been built to do?
Secrecy resumed. The object was hidden again, not by water, but by canvas and corporate prerogative.
The delicate surgery began. The goal, extract the core without triggering any dormant safeguards or collapses.
He was excluded. The fragile, valuable truth was now someone else's responsibility.
Alone, he revisited the descent, the thing in its natural state, before they had disturbed its long rest.
All senior crew to the briefing room, immediately.
The original program was black, canceled, and all records purged. This prototype was supposed to have been destroyed.
The weight returned. Not of water, but of consequence. They had pulled up a ghost with a classified past.
Our contract stands. We deliver the asset. We say nothing. This meeting never happened.
The tent was no longer a workshop. It was a quarantine, a containment field for a technological pathogen. New handlers arrived. Men whose very walk suggested they were used to making problems disappear.
It was always complicated. We just didn't know the shape of it.
New orders were being requested. The asset was volatile. Its value and its risk were in a new balance.
With its core removed, the object was just salvage metal. The mystery and the danger were in the hold.
Their destination changed. The plan, like everything else, had been rewritten by a hexagonal logo.
He packed his logs, his personal record, the only version of the truth that belonged to him alone.
Bonus for a smooth operation.
And for your discretion.
Payment for services rendered.
And for silence.
The currency of the deep world salvage trade.
He looked into the water, seeing not the surface, but the memory of the void below. His true workplace.
The image burned in his mind was not the cleaned shell, but the sleeping giant in its rightful, dark place.
An anonymous port. A transfer point for anonymous cargo. The end of the line for the crew.
Maybe. If it's just hydraulics and pressure. Not ghosts.
The transfer began. From the ship's hold to the truck. From one black world to another. Chen walked away. He carried his payment, his logs, and a new, permanent understanding of the depths. The body would be recycled, melted down. Its secrets, except for the one in the truck, erased forever.
He disappeared into the world of air. But part of him remained, suspended at 4,000 meters.
The world of light and noise felt foreign. His internal pressure hadn't yet equalized with the surface.
His muscles remembered the controls, the delicate dance of hydraulics at the edge of oblivion.
This was his truth. The unedited sensor data, his private voice recordings from the cockpit.
He would review it all, not for the company, but for himself, to understand what they had truly done.
He rewatched the first contact, the moment before the theft began, when it was still the ocean's possession.
A question formed when he hadn't allowed himself down there. Had they been right to take it?
The memory of the tube worms surfaced. A whole ecosystem, a tiny world they had obliterated for metal.
Sleep would not come. The ceiling was too close. He missed the infinite black above the viewport.
A call to an old contact. A man who knew about black budgets and lost prototypes. A call he shouldn't make. He searched for the ghost. The logo that had turned a salvage job into a covert extraction.
A breadcrumb. An academic paper from a time before the program went black. Before the purge.
Aim. A thread. Pulling it might unravel nothing. Or it might unravel everything, including him.
He left the bonus. Blood money for a ghost.
His payment was the data chip, and now, this name.
He put distance between himself and the sea. For the first time in his career, he was running from it. The weight of millions of dollars of seawater traveled with him, a compressed, dense knot in his chest. He watched the child draw the ocean as a friendly, wavy line, a simple, innocent world of surface and sky. His destination, a place of theory and paper, the opposite of the practical, crushing world he knew.
Dr. Eris Thorne, according to the university directory, still worked here. A ghost in plain sight.
He pushed the door open, not as a salvager, but as a pilgrim, seeking answers from the architect of a ghost.
Thorne sighed, a sound of releasing a breath held for 20 years. Project Janus, the two-faced guardian.
He kept a hard copy, a personal heresy, a record they couldn't purge from his memory, so he put it on paper. It wasn't for resource survey.
What was it for?
It was a sentry, designed to patrol, to hide, and to neutralize intruders in disputed deep-sea territories.
The pieces snapped into a horrifying new configuration. They hadn't salvaged a prototype. They had recovered a sleeper agent.
The core wasn't just its brain, it was its conscience.
Yeah. The core held the rules of engagement, the line between patrol and murder.
They have it. My employers. They're delivering it to someone.
Then you haven't finished the job, son. You just moved the grave from one darkness to another.
His words were a verdict.
He called the only person who understood the weight, the only one who had been in the bubble with him.
Chen, you shouldn't call this line.
They don't know what they have. It's not a prototype. It's a weapon. A sentry with a corrupted conscience.
Where are you, someone to tell?
I'm coming back. We need to find where they're taking the core.
The race was on. A race against the transfer of a sleeping god of the deep to new, unknowing hands. The core was moving. A thinking, possibly corrupted weapon, traveling to a buyer with no idea of its true function. He was going back to the coast. Back to the world of shadows and salvage, but with a new purpose. The rain blurred the neon and steel. He hunted for a ghost in a maze built to hide ghosts.
The ship was empty. A shell. Their job complete, the crew dispersed, the evidence scrapped or shipped.
The scorch marks from the electrical arc. The only remaining proof it had ever been there.
Hey! This is private property.
Just looking for work. Heard you had a big salvage.
Job's done. Ship's idle. Nothing for you here. Move along.
A clue, dropped in the rain and mud. A destination. The kind of place that had numbers, not names.
He had a thread. A single, muddy thread leading from the abyss, through his hands, and into a numbered facility.
Facility 7, a privately owned black site. The perfect terminal for a ghost with a $100 million price tag.
7. Facility 7. Heavily guarded. Independent contractors, no government oversight.
She knew the place.
What's the plan?
We can't just walk in. We're not spies. We're pilots.
We know this machine. We pulled it from its home. Maybe we're the only ones who can convince it to go back to sleep.
They're Facility 7. A fortress built to keep things in and the world out. Their destination, and possibly their tomb.
There it was. The core. Delivered. Their last chance was before it crossed that threshold forever.
Ventilation shafts. From the old mining works this place was built on. Might be a way in. A tight way.
Tighter than the DSV airlock?
Nothing's tighter than that.
They prepared for an interior dive into the pressurized silence of a vault instead of the oceans.
The first breach. The spark of light was a beacon, but the sound of the sea covered the hiss of melting metal. He descended, not into water, but into the human-made deep. The mission was no longer salvage. It was redemption. They moved like divers in a wreck, careful, silent, aware that a wrong move could collapse everything. The hum of machinery replaced the hum of the DSV. The new environment's rhythm, just as relentless.
Blue light, the color of instrument panels, of containment fields, the color of their target.
The final approach. A claustrophobic tunnel toward the heart of the facility, and the heart of Janus.
There it was. The conscience of the deep, exposed on an altar of science. Their race was almost run.